This is a facelifted version of the Peugeot 508, a biggish family car that harbors secret hopes that it can get competitive with the posh Germans over the way. The 508 is a proper low-slung fastback. If you want a bit of extra space via a higher roof, or some crossover wide ruggedness, then the new 408 is worth a look. The 508 remains very striking. There are some neatly designed saloons in this size class, but all very conservative. The 508, a fast-tailed hatchback, isn't trying to look reserved or German. The facelift brings changes to bumpers, grille and lights, but nothing revolutionary. Inside, the center screen software is usefully updated, and there's freshened upholstery. You get in-via frameless doors, which allow a lower roof without compromising the size of the hole through which you're climbing. Indoors, it's even more distinct from its rivals, because it adopts the company's iCockpit twin-screen design, using a small low-mounted steering wheel so you view the instruments over its rim. The 508 sits on the Stellantis Group EMP2 platform, as used by countless biggish Peugeots, Citroëns, Daihatsus and Vauxhalls. It's relatively light for its size, but doesn't feel fragile or floppy. This is the most sophisticated version of the platform, with multi-link rear suspension. There's also an option of adaptive dampers, but it doesn't need them. You don't get much steering feel, and your relationship with the car is defined by that tiny steering wheel, which means you can use small arm movements. Then you find keen and level cornering. The ride can be a bit firm and niggly around town, but it settles down on more expansive roads. All powertrains come with an auto box, and the bad news is it's one that shifts ratios indecisively. The base 1.2 engine is sweet enough and saves 300 kilograms over the plug-in hybrid, so isn't much slower. That PHEV is 1.6 liters with a total combined petrol and electric output of 225 bhp, but the handoff between petrol and electric is jerky if you're accelerating through tight bends or roundabouts. Dynamics are competent if slightly imperfect, but hey, when you get busy with the steering it's still night and day more adept than the crossovers that are brutally displacing the mainstream saloon hatches territory. It feels wieldy, lithe and confident on the road. Several factors contribute. First, it actually is light, especially the 1.2 version at 1,426 kilograms. Second, you sit low, gripping that small wheel. Third, it rolls little. The 508 dives keenly into a bend, turns tenaciously, and its front-to-back grip levels are well balanced. The 1.2 version is even more usefully agile on tight turns and roundabouts, and you do feel the extra weight in the 1.6 four-cylinder PHEV. The chattery soundtrack is fun, torque is spread pretty evenly across the revs and lag is no great bother. But yeah, 10 seconds 0 to 62 is nothing to boast about. So, to the 1.6 hybrid. It cuts the 0 to 62 to 7.9 seconds. On a long full-throttle section, overtaking up a hill say, it is usefully brisk. And in gentle driving the two power sources play well together, and quietly. But when you're coming onto the throttle vigorously, you get messy take-up and frustrating delays while the engine connects then comes on boost and the transmission downshifts. You can prevent the engine from stopping by going into sport mode, and there are gearshift paddles too. But it defaults back to auto after just a few seconds, so any attempt to hold a gear between corners is pretty much doomed. Instead it'll shift up, then when you come out of the next bend it'll probably shift down more gears than you want and scream for dear life. At main road speeds the ride's taut but not uncomfortable. There's a bit of thump at town speeds, and patter when the road's corrugated or serves up sharp-edged bumps and potholes. The dampers keep good control of body motion. Despite the frameless doors, wind noise is no problem, so big mileage cruising on motorways is no issue. But tire noise on coarse surfaces draws attention to the undercarriage. The 508 is a reasonably sized car, but the rising center console does make it feel slightly more claustrophobic than it otherwise would. Still, it's all very neatly designed and you get a nice armrest for your troubles, plus a handy storage tray beneath the gear selector. The seats are big and plush with plenty of room up front. In the rear, that coupe-style roof limits headroom for anyone above average height. Despite the long wheelbase, legroom back there is also limited because the seat cushion is close to the floor. Ask the people in front to raise their seats so you can tuck your feet underneath. The central screen is a 10-incher. All have connected TomTom-based navigation, which works quickly and has accurate traffic info. Well-integrated phone mirroring for Apple and Android is also standard. TA top tip: on any modern Peugeot or Citroën, if you tap on the screen with 3 fingers, you're always taken back to the highest level menu. Besides that, a row of 7 piano-style shortcut keys below the screen help the ergonomics and the style, and their cold touch aluminium surfaces and clicky action give a strong impression of quality, which is mostly reinforced by the rest of the cabin furniture and materials.